What's up YouTube, Element here, another week and another Star Wars Rebels, and we have a great one here. One of my favorites actually, so buckle up. We start off with Kanan taking Fenra aside to show him the Darksaber, which ignites a spark in his eyes, and he explains how the Darksaber could be a unifying symbol for Clan Vizsla. The Darksaber was created by Tar Vizsla, who was the first Mandalorian to be inducted into the Jedi Order, and upon his passing it was kept in the Jedi Temple, but was soon taken from the Jedi Order by the clan and used to unite the house. Fen talks about the possibility of having Sabine use the Darksaber for that very purpose. I have a feeling this Tar Vizsla is going to be more pertinent to this discussion than they're leading on, but more on that later. Meanwhile, Sabine sulks in her quarters and is summoned by Chopper to join the team. They all join in on a discussion to convince Sabine to take up the Darksaber in an effort to unify the clan behind the rebel cause. Sabine initially refuses to take up the Darksaber and the burden that comes with it, as she has a very difficult family history, but even Hera compels Sabine to do it, and she agrees. Kanan and Ezra take Sabine off to go train, as Ezra and Sabine bicker as if they're already married. Oh, sweet love. Kanan puts Sabine through the ringer. Kanan puts Ezra in charge of training and tells him to run her through all of the basic forms. There's a certain level of senpai-kohai complex involved here, but I digress. Training ensues over a couple of days as Kanan checks in with Hera. Kanan expresses that the Force lives in all things, but Sabine is conflicted and it's blocking her ability to at least sense its flow. I actually believe Sabine is Force sensitive, and it has something to do with the mentioning of the first Mandalorian to be inducted into the Jedi Order. There's something fishy about it. Ezra and Sabine continue training as Sabine overcommits and loses to Ezra yet again. Ezra gives Sabine the old catch you later sweet lips. Meanwhile, Fen gives Sabine Mandalorian vambraces, which are equipped with a grappling line, paralyzing darts, and a repulsor, tools designed to combat Jedi abilities. Sabine and Ezra duel yet again, but this time Sabine gets the upper hand, and Kanan flips his shit and disciplines Sabine for using tricks and treating training as if it's some kind of game. Sabine, having had just about enough of this, goes off on a tantrum. Ezra shows up to try and console Sabine and empathize with her, but Sabine thinks she's a traitor to her people and opens up to Ezra, possibly more than she has anyone else, but ends up hurting his feelings. Why you hurt his feelings, Sabine? Sabine then kicks Bendu awake, and this is one of those scenes, because what happens here? More on this in a second. Hera butts in on sword training, lectures Kanan to let Sabine use the Darksaber. They wait for Sabine to return, and I bring Bendu back up. What could have possibly happened while Sabine was gone? And what could possibly have been the overarching importance of showing Bendu during a moment in Sabine's training where she's on the verge of a breakthrough? I think Sabine may have spoken to Bendu about the Force, or perhaps sensed she was sensitive in some way. Maybe? A reach? Possibly? I'm open to it though. Sabine returns seemingly calm and collected and meets with Kanan as the two exchange apologies. Kanan finally gives Sabine the Darksaber and the real training begins. Kanan gives a succinct explanation of how a lightsaber feels to fight with, which is probably one of my favorite moments in this episode.
Energy constantly flows through the crystal. You're not fighting with a simple blade as much as you are directing a current of power. Your thoughts, your actions, they become energy. They flow through the crystal as well and become a part of the blade.
Sabine expresses that the Darksaber is finally feeling lighter, and Kanan explains that she's connecting with it, possibly connecting with the Force that lives within the saber. Kanan starts to provoke Sabine as she finally has a breakthrough and starts to spill all of the whole story about her family and what she had to sacrifice. And she says that she did it for family and that in the end her family didn't stand with her. Well, I could have told you they wouldn't because they aren't your real family. They're your caretakers. I'm not dropping the Satine plus Obi-Wan equals Sabine thing. Never. The episode nears an end when Fenra, Ezra, and Kanan all vow to follow Sabine through whatever decision she makes and whatever path she takes. Wonderful episode. Outstanding. Not only is Sabine one of my favorites on this series, but to see the amount of growth and progress develop was very fulfilling. We got to learn a lot about Sabine and quite possibly more than meets the eye. A connection to Tar Vizsla perhaps, clues or hints as to maybe her family not being so family to her. The revelation of Tar Vizsla as a Mandalorian Jedi and the appearance of Bendu has me all twisted. I'm a super believer that she has some kind of Force connection or Force sensitivity. They just aren't advertising it quite yet, or they're not ready to advertise it. Just like Chirrut Îmwe of Rogue One, plenty of people can be one with the Force without being a Jedi. And I believe Sabine is a shining example of that the closer and closer she connects with the Darksaber. Keep going, Rebels. Keep this up. I'm privy to forgiving the fillers if the main episodes are of this caliber. The soundtrack was amazing too. I felt the feels throughout this entire episode. Awesome job. What did you all think? Is Sabine really Force sensitive? Does she have a connection with Tar Vizsla? Is the family that betrayed her really her family? Give me a shout in the comments and let me know what you all thought. And as always, we are one with the Force and the Force is with us. Bye.